I can see that looks awkward. So what's happened, Kelly?
In 2012, I got kicked in my head
Right.
because I was a prison officer. And
Oh.
what happened is my neck extended
Yeah.
and then it compressed all. I've got scar tissue essentially under here.
Right.
But what happens is I get like a tingling pain pretty much all the time, all
Yeah.
down my arm. But these two fingers are almost, well, they're not all the time.
Yeah.
And there's no, I think it was on the C5 round here that they found some degeneration on the disc as well,
Yeah.
which adds to it and aggravates it. But as you'll see, I can't turn properly left, but I can
No.
turn properly right.
Right. So we need to fix that. And
Yeah.
the surgeon said this is easy, which is great. We're on camera. Of course, if it doesn't work, I'll just
Yeah.
press delete. And you shouldn't need to do that. All right. So you just relax and let's leave the rest of the spirit surgeon. So, I've been working with these beings. I've been working as a healer for 25 years. Move my water. I'm originally from Sheffield, so not a million miles from here. Born in Hillsborough and lived in Walkley. And now, for the last 20 years, I've lived in New Zealand, and it's been a hell of a shock to return to the UK and see how things are being restricted here. Seeing it with fresh eyes. Yeah, in New Zealand, I can do what I like. I can say I'm a psychic surgeon. Nobody bats an eyelid. But here, oh, you can't say you're a psychic surgeon. You've got to prove that those beings exist. I said, well, the healing comes from God. Well, can you prove God exists? Really? Well, nobody's managed it yet, have they, really? We all have our own personal view or belief, but how do you prove God exists? Well, quantum physics, I reckon, does.
Mm.
Yeah. So, when I advertise, I'm not allowed to say it's psychic surgery, because psychic surgery is a modality where there's no proof it works, yet. I can say on my Facebook page that I do psychic surgery, and I can explain it on a video that goes out to the public, but on my adverts I have to say it's an experiment. Right, now, Kelly, was it Kelly?
Yes,
Yeah, Kelly. Right, any sensation for you yet, Kelly? Any warmth, any tingling?
Just here, I'm getting like a sharp pain down my left hand side of my neck.
Yes, and that wasn't there before?
No, it wasn't, no.
Excellent. So the surgeon's already working. So it's not me that does the healing. I am an instrument, or as my partner calls me sometimes, a tool. Right, so all I do is I have a very pure intent in terms of I intend healing for Kelly, and then I allow the spirit surgeons to move my arms, my legs, my body, whatever, and I learned very early on wear trousers. Wear trousers, yeah, and a good fatigue bra, because you never know what they're going to require of me. Now there's some tiredness in there, there's an energy, there's an impasse of the energy, which is why the whole area's not been able to heal. It was a hell of a shock when this happened, because she could have died. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
So she didn't know to what extent she was going to be injured when she got up, was she going to be paralysed?
Yeah.
It was scary. It was scary. And so what happens when something like that happens, every cell of our being stores the memory of that shock and that panic and that terror, being really, really scared. Now it looks to you like they're working on this side, doesn't it, when the problem's on the other side, but they're needing to open everything up. What's happening now, Kelly?
I feel really, really dizzy.
Really, really dizzy, like
really
you're going to pass
dizzy.
out?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's good
Yeah.
she's sat on a chair then. I've had 2 clients pass out in 25 years. Thankfully, both of them I caught, because they let me know that was going to be happening. But when these spirit doctors work through John of God in Brazil, it's not uncommon for people to pass out. So when I visited him, it was the 3rd time I saw John of God. So John of God is the world's most amazing healer, as far as I can see. And when he works, I was at an event there where I was the first to pass out. 12 other people passed out, and we all had surgeries while we were unconscious. Yeah, it's great fun. My kids were there. My kids were about 6 and 8. Mummy, what's wrong? Bye. Go on. Through me, they're not as extreme, because over in Brazil, they will inspire John of God to use a scalpel on what looks like a serrated fruit knife. No cleanliness, no scrubbing up, just a few drops of blessed water. People look like rabbits startled in headlights, and then he performs surgery with a scalpel. Let's go on YouTube and have a look for John of God. You'll also find some negative stuff on there at the moment. My personal view of John of God is that he's worked for Spirit for 60 years. I don't imagine for 1 minute he's done what he's accused of, and the Brazilian authorities still haven't brought charges, which is interesting. Under Brazilian law, they're supposed to bring charges within 6 months, and nothing's happened. But John of God's out of action, which means that the Spirit's working with him. As much as John of God will be doing work without any shadow of a doubt, I've got a few more spirits with me this English tour, which is great. Now, what's happening for you now, Kelly? What's happening?
I'm still feeling really dizzy, but I'm getting like a burning sensation. It's going. The heat is really, really strong, all the way down my neck, all the way behind my shoulder blade.
Yeah.
And I also feel quite sad, like I want to cry.
That's all right. Let that emotion come out. Sadness is the flip side of anger. You'd have been angry about the situation that we were in. And so everything you see me do, I've got my hand very gently on the back of the head, one on the shoulder, which is a little bit, it's not exactly gripping, but it's a firmer touch. That's the surgeons. The surgeon just literally steps into me. Lots of different surgeons. I don't know how many there are. Oh, how are those fingers feeling then? I'm just seeing you do that.
I'm feeling tingling sensations down my arm as I'm going.
Cooking with gas, eh? Yeah. See, modalities like this have never been properly scientifically studied, because who owns the purse strings of the universities? It's the pharmaceutical drug companies, and they have no incentive to find out if this works, because it'd be money out their pockets. And so there's lots of things like meditation for people that have been through trauma, post-traumatic stress, people that are suicidal. Meditation might be a useful thing to do, but they've not done the studies that they could have done. There is a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza doing really good work with meditation and what happens to the brain when we meditate. And I think it was the Dalai Lama that said if we taught all children to meditate before the age of 7, we'd have peace on earth within a generation. So it would be worth investing in, wouldn't it, eh? Getting all these kids learning to have mastery over their mind.
Feeling really, really heavy.
Really heavy, yeah.
Really heavy.
Cool, that's all right. I could at this stage say I haven't got a clue what they're doing, because I haven't. It's like my fingers now are going into the back of the skull. I actually don't need to know how this works. All I need to do is be a clear instrument for the spirit doctors to work. And how do we know it works? Well, bring me another one, bring me another one, bring me another one. God bless. And they like having something a little bit different to work on. Now the surgeon has suggested at this stage, Kelly, we just get you to try turning your neck.
Which way do you want me to turn it?
To the left, to see how that feels.
Yeah, that's better than it was a minute ago, wasn't it?
It is.
Can
Cool.
do that.
And then go back the other way.
It's not as tight.
No, there we go. So this isn't me deciding to move my arms and what I'm going to do. My brain, in that sense, my logical brain isn't engaged. My consciousness is engaged, and I'm curious, and I'm fascinated, and I love working with the energy, but other than that, I leave everything to them. Sometimes you'll hear healers say, I'll bring in some pink or I'll take away some green. I never do anything like that. I am an instrument. That means when I teach it, it's very, very simple, because all you're going to be is be an instrument. All you've got to do is be able to meditate so that you can quieten your mind, and then be able to open your heart center so that you can bring through amazing healing energies. So it's a very, very quick modality for people to learn. need to know about anatomy and physiology because you're not going to diagnose anything. You're not allowed to legally, so you don't need that. But you are going to make sure that everybody you see sees a doctor before you treat them. That covers your ass. Yeah? Right, he's taken a chunk of energy out of that neck now, so now he says, now you can try turning it again.
Yeah.
Getting better again, eh?
Yeah, that's me, because
Wow.
for like I say, since 2012, I really, really struggled. Yeah, I know, I twist my whole body, but it's like a burning sensation that's just dwindled down, and then
Yeah.
there was the electric type feeling all the way down my fingers, but because they're numb, I can't feel those. I can feel pressure, but I can't feel sensitivity on my fingers.
Yeah.
It's like I can feel like little pins and needles all over.
Awesome. Cool. So he's opening up your healing channels, meridian lines, Ron. And he's just saying that in that situation you were incredibly brave. I don't think you've ever acknowledged that, but you were incredibly brave. And listen, this is the thing. Sometimes we think we're not brave if we feel scared. You can only be brave when you're scared. Otherwise it's not bravery, is it? If you're not scared, it's not bravery. And I know you were scared, but you said you were incredibly brave. Yeah, and if you'd not been there, maybe something worse would have happened. Yeah? Because it feels like you put yourself in the way of somebody else.
Yeah.
That's bravery. We never know what we're going to do until we're in that situation, guys. You never know. You can think what you're going to do, but you never know. And when that occasion happened, you were incredibly brave. And so Dr. Augusto is saying thank you to you for that. Now try your fingers out again.
Yeah. I still feel numb. That numbness ain't gone away, but it feel different,
They
slightly
feel
different.
Yeah. Watch this space. And so that numbness wasn't any good, was it? Because over a period of time that you know you've not got the blood flow going in, you know you've got the waste matter not being taken away, so it would only lead to more health problems.
Yeah.
There we go. And there's an area just behind this ear that just needs releasing. There we go.
Oh.
You could feel that.
Sorry. I actually felt that go, yeah. Yes,
Like
it
a
did.
piece of plastic.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
See, it's real, this.
Oh, it's really weird.
Yeah? What's it?
Yeah, sorry. It's like somebody's like unscrewing my head.
In my mind's eye, I saw a spanner, but
Oh dear.
Alright, so I've been doing this for 25 years and I can tell you there aren't conditions that can't be fixed, seriously, across the board. Some things take longer, some things take more than one session. I can't regrow an arm, or spirit surgeons can't regrow an arm, but most of the things they can help with. Now, legally in the UK, I am not allowed to offer to treat cancer. You have an act here that is way outdated called the Cancer Act of 1939. If I offer to treat somebody with cancer, I can go to jail for 3 months. Now, the history of that is that back then there were people offering all kinds of things as cures for cancer, but the act has not been repealed and I'm not daft, so I don't offer to treat anybody that has cancer. Right, again, try your fingers out.
Sorry, I wanted to cry when you were doing the whole head thing. It was like a release of emotion.
Yeah. When it happened, you were scared.
Yeah.
You were scared.
That was really strange.
Yeah. Now try turning your head again. Let's have a good look
So I
and
can
see
do
how
that
that's
one.
doing. That
That's
is a lot better, isn't it? Now,
Yeah.
how does your neck feel? Is it feeling less tight?
It's. I still feel like pressure here, but like
Yeah.
down here, it's a lot better.
Yeah, cool.
So
Right,
I
so
can
let's
go
get
with
this
that.
fixed. And I'm presuming that over the years you saw doctors about this?
Yeah, they've said to me the last thing I can do is surgery, but they would have to open my rib cage to get to where it is. And
So this might be a better option.
yeah.
Right, okay, so they're still working. All right, so here I've got the tightness. So let me just feel the tightness. All right, you'll notice there's no trying on my part, there's no struggle. And that's one of the things everybody needs to learn about life is stop trying, guys. Have a really, really clear intent about how is it you want to feel this lifetime, and then let your life unfold. Because there is a higher power that loves you more than you realise, and that higher power wants you to experience an amazing life. But if you're in your head thinking you know best, taking your life off down a certain path, and usually that entails working really, really, really hard to get some money, to work really, really hard to pay some tax. Yeah, there's another way. There is another way. Just have a really clear intent about how you want to feel, and then you ask God, the highest source, great spirit, whatever. It's not necessarily a religious God, it's the vastest experience of God you can imagine, and you align your will with God's will, and then amazing things will start happening for you. But when it first starts happening, the things that happen, you might think, no, I didn't want that, but it could be the very best thing. Yeah, you don't know. You judge things as good, bad, right, wrong. Whereas the higher power does know absolutely what's good for you and what isn't. Right, they're sticking a needle now in that neck. How's that feeling for
I
you?
can feel
Kelly?
it. I literally can feel it as you're doing it with your voice. I can feel it. It will sound daft, and I know it sounds a bit out there, but it's like a pressure going in.
It's like a little acupuncture
Yeah, it
needle,
is,
and
literally.
then they vibrate it
Yeah.
to loosen up the energy. That's taken out another lump of stuff that shouldn't have been there. Now you just try moving that arm, because your shoulders earlier, you haven't got much movement.
No,
in
I
there.
really do struggle with this because I get to about here. Although it feels a hell of a lot lighter. Just like a balloon. Yeah, it's a lot lighter. You know, because I'd struggle lifting weight up there, but that is a lot easier than because I can do it with my right arm, not a problem. Normally I get a really bad, I'm talking really bad cramping here.
But that's not there, eh?
No.
Hey, cool.
No, that's brilliant. That's really good. And I can actually feel strength in my hand.
Yeah.
Like normal strength.
Normal strength, that's good, eh? You see,
That's
I've been
really
doing
good.
this for 25 years, so 20 years in New Zealand, basically. I've been coming back here now for the last couple of years. Doctors don't come. Are we not doctors here tonight? No, it's funny, isn't it? Wouldn't you come? Wouldn't you? I mean, surely they've seen me on Facebook by now. We're getting about 7,000 views a week. But no, they don't want to know. It's really, really sad. Because I reckon they'd love to do this. Most nurses and doctors, I reckon, would love to do this. But so we've got to get the science first. It feels like we've to get the science and then give it credibility, and then more people will start looking at this as a modality.
I've not been able to do that for a while either. Like tilt my head that way without it hurting.
Yeah, you said you were easy, right? Scissors are out now.
Yeah.
I see a little pair of tiny scissors, smaller than manicure scissors. You know, like if you've got a little fancy dressmaking set with little tiny scissors, and he's just snipping now in the front of that shoulder. Right, you wants you to try lifting it again. He wants to make sure he's got that nice and free.
He's really got that free.
That's why you needed scissors.
That's something else, that is.
And how are those fingers?
Yeah, feel good.
Yeah, awesome.
Feel good, really good.
Well done.
Yes, thank you so much.